can a song be both the point and the proof at the same time? Because originally, I wasn't even planning on making this video. Talking about the song almost feels like validating its entire message. The whole premise is that people can't stop talking about these groups, and by sitting here making a video about it, I'm kind of proving them right. But then some of you DM'd me asking for my thoughts, and overanalyzing K-pop songs on the internet is basically my job description at this point, so here we are. Hey guys, welcome back to Summers with Wayde. I hope you're doing well. Today's video is a little different from my usual content because we're talking about something that happened literally a few days ago. Don't worry, we'll be returning to our regularly scheduled album reviews and retrospective content on Monday, but for now, we need to discuss one of the strangest things I've seen all year. Today, we're talking about Iconic by Mistake, and I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first saw people posting about this on Twitter, I genuinely thought it was fake. I saw the lineup, read the title, looked at the concept, and immediately assumed somebody had made an elaborate edit for engagement. There was simply no way Hybe was putting all three groups on a song together to address internet hate. And then it actually happened. Now, after spending way more time thinking about this song than any normal person probably should, I'm here to break it down with you. Iconic by Mistake is a collaborative single by three major K-pop girl groups under Hybe: SSERAFIM, ILLIT, and Katseye. I know Katseye isn't K-pop, but just go with it. The song serves as a defiant clapback at online critics, highlighting resilience and turning internet hate into fame. The title and chorus celebrate the idea that constant internet criticism only elevates them, making the artist iconic in the process. The lyrics specifically boast that the haters' obsession actually boosts their fame. It's because of all your hate, I am iconic by mistake. For additional context, all three groups face significant online criticism and hate trains, so the song can be seen as a reference to everything from live performance scrutiny and controversies at festivals like Coachella to unexpected tabloid storms and social media harassment. The lyrics are built on a central paradox. The artists didn't plan to become hot topics, but the sheer volume of hate directed at them made them impossible to ignore. Instead of taking a victim narrative, the lyrics weaponize the hate trains and turn internet toxicity into a tool for fame. The girls mock the intense, all-consuming obsession of anti-fans who type hate comments all day, aka breaking your fingers. They point out that the social media algorithms don't care if engagement is positive or negative. Every angry comment, quote tweet, and hate edit just pushes their name further into virality, effectively turning one of their biggest detractors into their biggest PR agents. For the first verse, we opened with SSERAFIM saying, quote, "Engrave it on my tombstone. I survived the fame and I barely changed." From what I've seen, some fans have noted that the tombstone lyric heavily mirrors the public backlash and death threats SSERAFIM received after their controversial 2024 Coachella performance, as well as the funeral wreaths sent to the Hybe building by extreme protesters, which to me has always been super extreme. I know this isn't my opinion section yet, but Jesus, people need to stop doing that. The second verse is handled by ILLIT. Here they talk about never really taking a break or being, quote, off duty, and taking people's criticism and reacting with smiles, regardless of it affecting them. Since their debut, ILLIT faced heavy scrutiny regarding plagiarism accusations. Tying this into the pre-chorus, the lyrics highlight how people create deep fictional theories about the group's lives. By calling reality a simulation, they express how surreal it is to watch the internet treat them like characters rather than real people. For the third and final verse, we have Katseye. Theirs focuses heavily on being constantly scrutinized and judged on their visual styles and stage performances. I've also seen people take their verse as a sort of response to some fans or viewers claiming certain members like Daniela or Lara try to steal the spotlight from others when performing. The lyrics shrug this off, explaining that they're just doing what they love and that drama only makes them stand out more. Also, the spiritual crucible line did shock me a little bit on the first listen. So taking all of that into account, it left me feeling surprisingly conflicted about whether I should even make this video in the first place. Because on one hand, I genuinely believe there is value in criticism. No piece of art is exempt from critique, discussion, or differing opinions. In fact, I'd argue that's one of the biggest signs that something has cultural relevance. People engage with it, debate it, and form opinions about it. That applies whether you're a fan, a casual listener, or someone who actively hates the music. But on the other hand, by making this video, I'm literally doing what the song says people do. I'm talking about it, contributing to the conversation. Obviously, that's not the same thing as spending all day sending hate comments or obsessively stalking idols online, but it does create this weird meta situation where discussing the song kind of validates its entire premise. And then there's the third option, the other hand, if you will. The song wants this attention. The entire concept is built around being talked about and generating discourse, so even if people inevitably watch this and say, "You're proving their point," or "This is just hate," I still think conversations like this are worth having. Because if artists release music specifically designed to spark discussion, then discussing it is a completely fair response. The problem is that once I strip away the conversation surrounding the song, I'm left with a track that I don't find particularly compelling. My biggest issue is the lyrics. I've seen a lot of people online describe them as overly angsty, overly dramatic, and maybe a little cringe, and as much as I hate admitting it, I kind of agree. The rhyme schemes are fairly basic, the message is incredibly surface level, and some of the lines feel like they're included more for shock value than because they actually have something meaningful to say. Katseye's verse is probably the biggest example of that for me. What's funny is that after spending all this time analyzing the song, I feel like I'm doing half the work for it. Sure, I can pull certain words, references, and phrases apart and connect them to specific controversies each group has experienced, but most of that meaning exists in the context surrounding the song, not necessarily within the lyrics themselves. A lot of the analysis requires assumptions, interpretations, and connecting dots the song never explicitly connects on its own. And that's where it loses me. If you're gonna make a song that's supposedly responding to years of public criticism, scrutiny, and controversy, then commit to it. Be direct, say something, call out the behavior, address the narratives, make people uncomfortable, because right now it feels like they're saying a lot while simultaneously saying absolutely nothing at all. The result is a song that wants the weight of a bold statement without actually taking the risk required to make one, and I think that's why I walked away feeling underwhelmed. Ironically, I think the most interesting thing about Iconic by Mistake isn't the song itself, it's the discourse surrounding it. The conversation about fandom culture and hate trains, the fact that social media turns real people into characters in an ongoing narrative. That's all genuinely fascinating. The actual song itself, not so much. If anything, this mostly felt like a Katseye song featuring SSERAFIM and ILLIT rather than a true collaboration between all three groups, and unfortunately, that's not really a compliment coming from me. The lyrics might be better than shaking ass in the parking lot, but not by nearly enough for me to call this some groundbreaking commentary on internet culture. The song argues that all publicity is good publicity, that every conversation makes them more iconic. And judging by the fact that I'm sitting here talking about it for this long, maybe they're right. But being talked about and being impactful aren't always the same thing. So after spending way too much time thinking about the song, I think my biggest takeaway is that I understand what they were trying to do. In theory, Iconic by Mistake is a clever concept. The song takes the endless cycle of online discourse, criticism, and hate trains and flips it on its head. Instead of letting those conversations define them, the group reclaims the narrative and turns the attention into a badge of honor. And honestly, I don't even disagree with the core message. The reality is that a lot of the criticism these groups have received over the past few years has gone far beyond music. Constructive criticism is one thing. Coordinated harassment campaigns, death threats, invasive speculation, and treating idols like things instead of actual people is something completely different. Nobody deserves that regardless of whether you like their music or not. Because underneath all the Twitter arguments, fan wars, quote tweets, and think pieces are actual artists who probably just want people to engage with their work. Instead, entire careers sometimes become reduced to narratives created by strangers online. Ironically, the song is probably correct. The people who spend all day obsessing over these groups absolutely contribute to their visibility. Engagement is engagement. Algorithms don't care whether you're praising a song or writing a 10-page thread about why you hate it. But I also think that's what makes this such an interesting release. It's less a song and more of a snapshot into modern K-pop culture. A culture where being discussed can sometimes matter more than being liked. As for the song itself, I think it exists. That's honestly the best way I can describe it. The production is serviceable, the message is clear, and the collaboration itself is undeniably fascinating from an industry perspective. But if I'm being completely honest, I found the conversation surrounding the song far more interesting than the song itself, which, depending on how you look at it, might mean they accomplished exactly what they set out to do. But for a song that had the potential to be one of the boldest statements we've seen from a major K-pop label in years, I can't help but feel like it played things far safer than its concept would have you believe. But I'll shut up now. Thank you guys for making it this far. I was quite passionate about this topic, so I hope you enjoyed. So thank you so very much for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click that bell icon so you're notified every time I post a video. Tell me in the comments down below, what did you think about the song, and were you just as shocked when they announced it like I was? Remember that I love you all so much, and I'll see you guys on Monday with the Irene album review that I promised one of you like a few weeks ago. Bye!